Okay, almost there. One last couple of tasks to go, and that's just to give the user the ability to set one of these photos as their main photo, or change the photo that is their main photo. So back to VS Code, and inside the agent.ts file, we just need another couple of methods to do this. And we'll add a method called setMainPhoto, and this is going to take the ID of the photo, which is a type of string, and then we'll say requests.post, and then we'll say backticks /photos $ID, and then /setMain, which matches the endpoint in our API. And we're just going to send up an empty object for this. And we'll just do the delete photo as well since we're here. Again, this takes an ID of type string, and we'll say requests.post, and we'll say backtick and /photos. Or in fact, this should be delete, of course. And we'll say /photos $, and then the ID. And then we can go across to our profile store and add the methods we need inside here. So we'll add a method to set the main photo. And it's going to be an async method that takes a photo as a parameter. And we'll set a loading flag for this. So we'll need another loading flag inside here. And we'll say loading equals false. And we'll come back down and say this loading equals true. And then we'll add a try catch block as per normal. And pass in the error. And inside here, we'll just use the run-in action and set this.loading equal to false, and we'll just console.log any errors. And in the try, we'll just say await agent.profiles, and we'll say set main photo, and then we can pass up the photo.id. We'll also update the photo in the user store because we're using that to display it on the navbar, so we want this to update at the same time. So we'll say store and user store, and we'll say set image, and we'll pass the photo.url. And then we can use another run-in action so that we can update properties inside the profile store itself. So we'll just check to make sure that we've got this.profile, and we have list.profile.photos, and then we can say this.profile.photos, and we want to find the photo that is currently set to main. So we'll say p goes to p.isMain, and then we'll say isMain to get the actual image, and we'll set this equal to false. And we can't use optional chaining when we're assigning something, so we'll need to swap that for an exclamation mark. So this line sets the current main photo to false, and then we need to do the opposite for the photo we're updating. So we'll say list.profile.photos.find, and this time we'll say p goes to p.id, that's equal to the photo.id, and then we'll set the isMain property to true. And once again, we'll need to swap the question mark for the exclamation mark. And then we can set this.profile.image equal to the photo.url. And then we can turn off our loading indicator. So we'll say list.loading equals false. So with this in place, we can head across to our profile photos component once again. And inside here, we'll destructure the other properties from our store. So we've got another loading flag, and we've got the setMainPhoto function. And let's move some of this down because it's taking up too much space. And what we'll do is we'll scroll down to where our cards are, and underneath the image, we're going to add some buttons. But we only want to add the buttons, of course, if this is the current user. So we'll add the isCurrentUser $&. And inside here, we'll add a button group because we're going to have two buttons. And we'll make it fluid. And we'll set the whips equal to 2. And then we'll add a button. And the properties we'll give this, we'll make it a basic button. We'll give it a color equal to green. We'll give it content equal to main. And because we have multiple images, then we want to make sure that we only display the loading flag for one of them, so we'll give it a name property, and we'll set this to the photo.id, and we'll make it disabled if the photo is main. We're not going to let them set their main photo to something that is already their main photo, of course, and then we'll add an onClick event. And what we want to do is pass the event to this as well, and we're going to need a function because what we want to do is set the target of the name of the button so that we only display the loading indicator on the button that we're actually clicking on and not all of the other ones in there. So what we'll do, we'll come up to the top. We've done this sort of thing before. We'll add some local state and we'll specify target and set target, and we'll say use state, and we'll just set it as an empty string. And then what we'll do is we'll add a function and we'll say handle set main photo, and we'll take a photo of type photo as a parameter, and we'll also take the event, which is going to be a type of synthetic events that we get from React, and this takes the type of the HTML button element, and we'll need to bring this in, and we'll just say add synthetic event to existing import declaration for React. So inside here we'll say set target, and we'll say e.currentTarget.name, and then we'll say set main photo and pass in the photo. So a couple of other adjustments to our method inside here, or for the buttons. For example, we'll need a loading indicator. So we'll say loading equals, and we'll say target is equal to the photo.id and loading. And then for the onClick event, we're going to say handle set main photo, and we'll pass in the photo and pass up the event as well. And below this button, we'll need another button for our delete. So let's just add this at the same time. We'll add another button. And we won't add the functionality yet. We'll just make it a basic button. We'll give it a color equal to red, and we'll give it an icon equal to trash. And now we should be good to go and test. So let's take a look and let's give our page a refresh because it's crashed once again based on the code changes we're making. And if I click on photos, then I can see that I've got the options now, and the current main photo is disabled. That's good. When I click on this button, what I want to see is the photo updating both in the profile and over in the component navbar as well. So let's click on main. We can see our loading indicator and we can see these updating. And that works for any case. Perfect. And one final task before we finish, and that's just to sort out the deletion of photos as well.